All right, do you know anyone that's in their 60s and still working? I think the answer is probably more than likely you do. So have you ever wondered why it's so hard if you're approaching already your 60s and you're like, oh my goodness, I'm still working, but I want to retire. I don't know if I'm going to be able to retire. So that's the topic for today's Money Monday. How do we plan out our retirement if we're already in our 60s and we might be thinking it's too late? All right, so you're in your 60s and you want to know the formula exactly on how to retire? Here it goes. So last year, I ended up meeting with a gentleman. He works in a landscape business. He has a pretty successful business, makes about $120,000 a year. So not bad, he has a pretty good income. But I asked him how much money he had saved up. He only had $100,000 saved up. Then I asked him when he wanted to retire. He said he wanted to be able to retire from his business by the time he was 70. He was 60 and he only had 10 years to be able to plan his retirement. After doing some numbers, we realized that he needed almost $500,000 he needed to have saved up by the time he was 70. And he only had $100,000 today, and he needed $500,000 in about 10 years. So when I told him this, he goes, Sebastian, that's impossible. There is no way that I'm going to be able to get from $100,000 to $500,000 in 10 years if I haven't been able to do it in the last 30 or 40 years. And the answer is, it is possible. So this is what we needed to do. We started saving on a monthly basis $1,000 a month. Every single month. So yes, he had to put in some effort and he needed to sacrifice a couple things in his lifestyle so that he could save this money. That's $1,000 a month. And if he did that for the next 10 years, that would be more for his retirement. Then the other thing we did is we calculated how much he would be getting in Social Security between he and his wife. And it actually added up to over $3,000 a month between the husband and the wife. And they can start saving that when they turn 66. So $3,000 a month from age 66 until age 70, in those 4 years, that's more money that they could save. So when we started building this whole plan out and we said, all right, $100,000 plus $1,000 every single month for the 10 years, plus the $3,000 of Social Security from age 66 until age 70, by the time he actually retired, it was adding up to over $500,000 if the money was growing at about an average of 7%. So we just use 7% as a hypothetical number. So you see, it is possible. You could retire with the $500,000 by the time you're 70. He thought it was impossible. He walked in thinking, I only have $100,000. There's no plan for this. There's no way I can solve this. But you could build out your retirement if you build out a plan. You need to have a plan. You need to know exactly where you're at today and where you want to go. That's the only way you get anywhere. So what's important out of this is, yes, if you're in your 60s or you're in your 70s and you're thinking, it's not possible, I will never be able to retire, I don't know how I'm going to retire. It is possible. Just sit down with someone, build out a plan, know exactly where you're at and where you want to go. And then it's that person's job to build out a plan for you so that you know exactly what you need to be doing to get to where you want to go. So don't get stressed out. Maybe this is your situation. Maybe this is a family member of yours and you're thinking, I'm going to have to now rely on someone, on my children or my grandchildren to take care of me. Those things don't need to happen if you build out a plan. How the saying goes, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. We'll see you here next week on your next Money Monday.